All right, so here's a little video about playground assignment 1 and 2. So you'll have already downloaded the student files, which you can find in Canvas. And when you download them, it might be a zip file. You might double click on them to extract them, to turn them into to break them apart, basically, into little folders. And then you'll see their folders are numbered. And we're doing playground assignment 1 and 2. It says what to do, so that's these two folders here. Each of the folders, if you expand it, they've got one file in each of them. And you see I already renamed this one. I'm going to rename this one as well. I'm just going to put my last name in there. Just makes it easier for me, the teacher, to grade if I know which file is which. I mean, it helps me out. So if you could do that, that'd be cool. To rename, by the way, I just clicked and then I double click again, not quickly, but just slowly double click, and I don't know what magic that causes for it to be able to rename, but just try that out. Okay, so playground 1, let's launch it. Double click on it and it should automatically launch in Xcode Playgrounds. The way Playgrounds works is there's some text here for you to read. You read through it and then you click on the link down here. Now Xcode sometimes takes a while to get started, and sometimes it kind of stalls out a little bit. So if you're having problems, you might have to restart Xcode, or what I usually do first is I click this stop button down here, and then I start it again. And the only reason you might do that is some of the assignments will ask you, it should compute certain things over here on the side on some of the screens. So not on this screen, but let's say the next one. So this second page here, it's got these numbers here, and if everything's working right, then it should pop some numbers up over here, boom, like that. If that's not happening for you after a minute or two, then you might want to stop and start it down here, or reboot Xcode. It'll start working faster eventually. That's what I've heard anyways. So I guess your computer just has to get used to it. So Playgrounds is, again, it's just teaching you stuff, and then in here, where you see the numbers here, this is live code here, so you can create new lines, and then you can type stuff in here. So it's asking you to write some extra numbers here. So I'm going to write some numbers. See, it says, yeah, so down here it says click a line of code to move the cursor there, type to start editing the code. So the pink areas, take special note because that's your actual homework for the page. So you want to complete what it says. Click a line of code to move the cursor there. Okay. Type to start editing code. Yep. Change the numbers a few times, add a few numbers. Okay, we're done. On the next page, you can use it to create calculations. So you'll see 34, 56, 230. So you see it's just adding these numbers up, and then here's the answer over here. So this is what Playgrounds does. It lets you experiment with coding and then kind of I don't know, calculates or computes it over here, renders it over here. And so there's a homework assignments. I'm not going to run through all of these, but just know, read through the text and then go execute the pink commands down at the bottom of the experiments. So here's actually an interesting page. I'll spend a moment on this. Xcode and Playgrounds will give you these errors if something's really wrong. And you click on the error, and sometimes it'll tell you more information. But what they're saying is you can't divide by 0. That's not cool in math. And so we're going to change the number here. So that gets makes the error go away. There's also warnings, which are yellow dots. Those are not quite as important as the red ones. The red ones will make your app crash. The yellow ones will just kind of be something to look into, like that, maybe something to check out. Okay. So that's one. Once we've done all of that, then just make sure you save the file. So up at the top, there's File, and then Save, and then you're done with that playground. Then you go on to the next one, and I'm going to open up this one because there is some interesting stuff in Playground 2. Once you're done with the playgrounds, by the way, you want to zip them up or just attach them to the Canvas assignment. And that's how you complete your assignment, is by attaching the file to Canvas, and then I grade it. Okay, so this asks you to update some numbers up there, no big deal. And this asks you to add some lines, no big deal. Okay, this is the interesting part, kind of. So these are called properties. So let is a way of declaring a property. And let number of dogs equal 6. So that means that like this is kind of like a nickname for the value that's stored. So number of dogs is like kind of like the nickname or the alias or whatever you want to call it, but it's a property. And you can then, instead of typing 6 everywhere, you can just type number of dogs. So it'll make more sense down here. So for instance, like if you want to figure out the total number of animals, then you would add up these words. And the words here, the properties, are just representatives of the numbers. So it's just kind of like a nickname or a placeholder for the number of dogs. The cool thing about that is then, like, let's say you had 6 dogs and 6 cats, and you just want to do total number of animals, and you're doing 6 plus 6. Well, now there's no reference to what this 6 refers to. So when you rename it, then it kind of helps you understand what's going on. You'll see how they change colors. That's properties will change colors. Also, your colors may not match my colors here. If you want to change your colors, then you can go to, where is it? Xcode Preferences. Xcode Preferences, and then Fonts and Colors. I made my own Levy Midnight Dark Mode, but there's also dark mode, and so you can just flip through whatever color you want. Okay. Keep going through these assignments. Go. Read through the pinks and execute this. There's some good stuff here, so don't skip this. Read through it. But there's one page I wanted to get to that's really annoying. This is a really good page for learning how to use properties. So. Okay, this is actually a really good page as well for declaring properties. So let's run through just the very beginning of this. So it says, in this exercise, you're going to work on figuring out the answer to the timeless question: how much stuff can I fit on my phone? No code's provided, so you have to come up with the code yourself. When you write a property, so let's say Dave's age equal, oh gosh, what am I, 40 something, 43? When you write a property, you can name this whatever you want, see, and use it. But you want to kind of like name it in a generic way that makes sense, that defines the object. So Dave's age. And you'll notice I'm writing it in what's called camel case. First letter is lowercase, and then each word inside of it, or when it makes sense, then add capital letters. So in this case, iPhone storage capacity is measured in gigabytes. The iPhone in question has 8 gigabytes of storage. Okay, so I'm going to do, because I've done this one before, I'm actually going to, instead of like measuring it in gigabytes, I'm going to measure, I know that 1 gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes. So I'm going to say, yeah, it already says so here. Oh, no, scratch that. Let's just do it the way it says. So iPhone storage capacity is measured in gigabytes. The iPhone in question has 8 gigabytes of storage. So I'm going to say iPhone storage equals 8. Okay, but then they said that 1 gigabyte is equal to 1,000 megabytes. So let's do another one. Let iPhone storage megabyte, MB, equal. And then I'm going to do iPhone storage times, which is this star, 1,000. And then I'm going to look over here on the side and see if it's calculating properly. If it is, then this should be 8,000. Boom. Okay. So now iPhone storage in megabytes is 8,000. And then let's see, the iPhone already has 3 gigabytes of stuff on it. So we'll do another one. Let iPhone currently using equals 3. And then I'm going to do this again just to get the megabytes. And you don't have to break it down this much. If your code looks different than mine, that's fine, as long as you come up with the right answer in the end. I'm not too picky about these things. I want to see that you're creatively coming up with solutions that work and that are correct, that are readable. And so iPhone's currently using 3 gigabytes. And so this is, I might even rename this GB. So now notice this. When I rename these these properties, then suddenly I'll probably break this over here. See, it's like, oh, we don't know what you're talking about. That's because you renamed it up here, but you didn't rename it down here. So make sure if you make any changes, you propagate them across your code. Okay, and so now we've got the iPhone's currently using 3,000 megabytes, and the storage is 8,000 megabytes. So I'm going to leave the rest to you to calculate the rest, but just know this is kind of like how you would go about solving the problem. Don't forget to complete this question. That'll be part of your homework assignment. And on to the next. All right. So this is another one. Just go through this one. It's fun. It's cool. It helps you calculate what your daily routine is. This is the annoying one I wanted to get to. Okay. So these are abbreviations, and it's your job to decipher these abbreviations. What I kind of did, I think, is I just took all this, Command C, copy, and then I pasted it down here, Command V, and then I started deciphering what these letters are supposed to mean. So I'm going to give you some hints here. So C, and I'm going to use comments. This is a comment, so anything I type behind here isn't really code. It's just like words for you and me to read. So C is a letter. O is a letter. O is oranges. W is a letter they use down there. W is watermelon, or watermelons. And then now let's see. T is total. And then they do not 7. T, and then they'll have L and R also, left and right. Left, or left side, I think. Right. Now C, what is C? So C corresponds to count. So essentially, like, let's start trying to decipher this junk. So this is like the count of oranges. And it's actually like a little, if you read through it, it's like not just the count of oranges, it's like the count of oranges on a pallet. A pallet's like a wooden thing to hold a lot of, I don't know, boxes, you know, like you'll see them. So count orange pallets. So it's like how many pallets of oranges are there? This one's like how many watermelon pallets are there? This one's like how many orange pallets are there? W in this case is like also weight. So like watermelon pallet weight. So this is your job, is to try to decipher this. And it's actually kind of a good challenge because it is sometimes hard to decipher other people's code. So go through and do your best to try to decipher the rest of these, knowing that like each of these letters corresponds to some word. And good luck with this one. It's really annoying, but I don't want to give you the exact answer, but you know, like this will get you on the right track. Just read, if you get stuck, read through the instructions up here again.